In this video, I'm going to be going over templates in C++ and kind of talking about the basics of how to use template classes and implement them in your code. So I'm going to start off with an example. We'll include IOStream as usual. And if you don't know what templates are, this is pretty much how you define a template. You're going to have to write template, and here you can do type name or you can write class. They'll both do the same exact thing, but I prefer using type name just because when you have classes in your actual file, then it'll get a little confusing and harder to read when you have class in your template as well. So type name, whatever your type name is going to be, and then in this case I'm actually going to use two types. So this is how you would create a template in your code, and they basically allow you to again use any type with your whatever it is. In this case I'm going to be doing a map, so I'll actually include map as well because I'm going to need that. But yeah, if you have an array or vector, map, anything, and you want to use a class that creates an array or a vector or a map, you can use a template to use that class to create a map or vector, array, whatever it is, of any type instead of just an integer or string. So I'll show you right now what it actually does. So we're going to make a class called data with a private map, and normally you would write your types for the key and the value in the map. So you do like something like int or string, double, whatever it is. But in this case, since we're using a template, we just do t and u, and that will automatically fill in the types for us, whatever type we want to use in our main function. So I'll call this data map, and public, we're just going to have a default constructor. Probably do like a void function. Let's do like set elements, and I will take the key and the value as parameters. So it'll be the t will represent the type of our key in the map, and then the u will represent the type of the value in the map. Normally it would be like int whatever, but in this case template will cover all that for us. And then we'll do one more function, display map. That'll display all the values or the elements in the map. And now if you actually want to define these functions, you're going to have to write the whole template again. So I'm going to copy this over. Just like we did for the class, you're going to write it above. So we'll start with the constructor. Normally you would do something like this, or something like this for your constructor. But in this case, since we're using a template, we have to use the triangle brackets, t and u every time. And that is how we write our default constructor. Again, we're going to have to copy the template again and let's do the void set elements function. So we'll do data, triangle brackets, tu again, and then set elements with the parameters. So this function is going to be pretty simple. We're just setting the element in the map. So we'll do data map at the key, and we'll give it a value. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that function. Next, we have the display map. So again, just write the data with the template and then display map. And in this function, we're going to have a for loop, of course, that uses auto I. If you don't know what auto I does, auto is pretty much telling C++ to use whatever type or figure out what type that goes there. So that will be useful since we're using templates. And then we'll do a simple print. So we'll do cout I dot. Oh, actually, I'll actually just type key. And value. And that will print our map. So that's pretty much it for all the functions for now. It's a very basic class, but it's just the main purpose is just to figure out how templates actually work with classes. So in the main function, I'll create a map. Let's do something. So you're gonna have to do data and triangle brackets again. But now we can actually write the types that we want for the map. So we'll do the first one, let's do string for the key and int for the value. And we'll call this game ratings. So we'll have our key represent the name of the game and int be the rating of the game. And then equals data again, and then triangle brackets, and then the same types. And then round brackets for the constructor, and then we're done. That's one map created using this class that uses a template with two type names. And now I can add the values to this map. So I'll do some random values for now. Let's do Elden Ring because it's one of the greatest games, 96 rated. And then I'll do like 3 more. Let's do Doom 90. Do something like that. So that will set, actually I have to do set element here, can't forget that. So that will set the element in the map, and we can actually print all these values using game ratings. Display map function. And let me open up my terminal here. So we'll do just compile. I'm doing everything in one file for now, but later on I'll use a Makefile and split it all up. So it prints everything. I should have probably added a space here. Value add a second. Right here, I should probably add a space. Let me do this again. Yeah, so I'll print our key and the value using the map. I'm actually gonna, so this is where templates come in, where you want to make another map with different types using the class. We can actually, our template will let us do that. So we can do data, let's do like a double float, and then we'll do add tag. So we'll use a map that will provide a double value as a key, and then it will calculate the value with tags and add it in the value of the map. So we'll do add tags equals data double float. Same thing, same way we created this map, I'm gonna have to use this one. And then we'll do add tags, but we can't actually use the set element function because we're not setting the element ourselves, so we're gonna have to make another function for this map. So we'll do, let's make a function called calculate tags. I'm just gonna make it simple, I'll just make it a void function. It'll actually take the key and then calculate the tags and put it in the value. So key will be the only parameter for that map, or for that function. And then again, if you want to declare a function or define a function using a template, you have to always put the template above it. We'll take the key, and now this function is going to be pretty simple as well. So we'll have a float, and I actually want to round it to 2 decimal places since we're working with prices. So I will include this library right here, which will allow me to set the precision of the float when I actually print it. So for now I can just leave it as like float value equals key times 1.13, 13%, and then we'll do data map at key will be equal to that value. And that's it for that function as well. Now I can test it by adding my, or calculate, choosing random values here. I'll do 1 for the first one, and then do like 4 more, or 3 more, and then we'll do like some random values for the double. Let's do like Okay, and this should display in the same format as this. I'll actually add a comma here just to make it more clear. But yeah, it should display this in the same format as the other map. Open up my terminal again. And yeah, so it displays all the values, but they're not rounded yet. I'm gonna have to do that all again in my display map function. So now I can actually edit my display map function. Right here, I'm gonna add an if statement. I'm actually gonna need to include another library here, which is type info. This way I can check what type my map, the key and the values are in my map. So let's do if type ID is the function for that from that library of i.first is equal to a double. This is kind of inconvenient, but in this case, since I only have 2 maps, I can do this, and I'll only have to just check the first, only the key, and if it's a double, then I'll know it's the other map, and then I'll print something else. So normally it's inconvenient, but in this case, I'm just gonna do it for simplicity. And so yeah, in this case, we'll have to do, let's do stdc out and fixed from the library I just included, and then set precision at 2, and then let's do like $sign i.first. I can actually, I'm gonna have to split this up a little bit just so it's easier to see, and I'll do like plus. So that should print everything for that map, and then so we'll check the type of the key, and if it's a double, then it'll print everything for that map. If it's not, then it'll print the key and the value. I'll actually change these as well to game and rating now. And it looks good. It should work. I should go ahead and fix the indentation, add some more brackets. Now that function should work fine, so let's compile it right now. It compiles and it runs, rounded everything to 2 decimal places, so it works perfectly fine. But now that's pretty much how you use templates. Now I'm actually going to split these files up, or this file up into multiple files. So we'll have a header file, data.h, data.cpp, and then a Makefile. And I'll split it up. So first, in my header file, I'll only have this, just my class with the template. In my actual CPP file for that, I'll have all the libraries, and yeah, so I'll have all the libraries and functions. And I'll actually also have to include the header file. In here, I'll only have the main function, and then I'll have to include data.cpp, and this should work fine if we use a Makefile. So for the Makefile, we're just going to have a compiler here, G++, C flags. We'll just use, it's going to be a very simple Makefile. Have an all target, depends on the program, or prog executable, and then prog target will depend on main.o, data.o, Then we'll just have CPP, C flags. Just call the executable prog, and then now we do the main.o targets, which will depend on main.cpp and in data.h. And then we'll do CPP, C flags, and we're just going to compile the main CPP file. Then I'm actually going to copy all this over, change this to data. That's the target for the data object. And now let's make a clean target. I'll remove all the object files once we're done, and the executable. And then a run target, why not? Depend on all. And it'll just run the program. And if everything is fine, this should work. So let's try it. So it compiles, and then let's do make run, and it runs fine. So that's pretty much the basics of how to use templates, template classes in C++. So they're pretty powerful, especially if you want to use, multiple data types for one thing. They can work with anything like arrays, maps, as you saw in this example, and vectors. So they can be pretty useful. And yeah, that's pretty much it.